Willow Creek was the kind of town where people left their doors unlocked and neighbors still brought casseroles to the sick. At the heart of it all was Sarah Miller, a 32-year-old nurse who worked the night shift at the local hospital. She was known for her kindness, her steady smile, and the way she calmed even the most frightened patients. On a rainy Thursday morning, Sarah clocked out at 6 a.m. She was expected at her sister's later that afternoon for coffee, but she never arrived. Her car sat untouched in the hospital parking lot. By nightfall, Sarah's family reported her missing. The town panicked. Flyers went up overnight. Candlelight vigils began. Everyone feared the same thing. Something terrible had happened to Sarah. Police launched a full-scale search. At first, investigators suspected a random act of violence. Maybe Sarah had been abducted walking to her car, or attacked on her short drive home. The woods surrounding Willow Creek were combed by volunteers. Dogs traced her scent as far as the gravel lot, and then nothing. Detectives interviewed colleagues. One nurse recalled Sarah saying she felt like someone had been watching her lately, but brushed it off as exhaustion from night shifts. It was a chilling clue, but without evidence, it led nowhere. Weeks passed. No body. No signs of struggle. Sarah seemed to have vanished into thin air. The longer the case dragged on, the more investigators dug into Sarah's personal life. On the surface, she was a devoted nurse, loved by her patients and respected by co-workers. But beneath that perfect exterior, cracks began to show. Detectives discovered Sarah had recently broken off a secret relationship with a married doctor at the hospital. He was angry, bitter, and had reportedly threatened her. Was this a crime of passion? He became the prime suspect. 4 days he was followed, his home searched, his phone records combed through. But there was no physical link to Sarah's disappearance. Then came another lead. Neighbors reported strange noises from Sarah's house in the weeks before she vanished, scraping, shuffling like footsteps inside the walls. At first, police dismissed it as paranoia. But soon they couldn't ignore it. Investigators entered Sarah's home. It looked ordinary, almost too ordinary, as if frozen in time. The fridge still had leftovers from her last meal. Her bed was neatly made. Nothing seemed out of place, until officers noticed faint holes cut into the drywall behind her bedroom closet. When they tore into the wall, they found a narrow crawl space. Inside were old food wrappers, a blanket, and even a notebook filled with erratic handwriting. The horrifying realization dawned. Someone had been living inside Sarah's walls. DNA analysis identified the squatter as Ethan Cole, a drifter with a violent past. He had served time for assault and was rumored to have stalked women in other towns. Neighbors vaguely remembered him loitering near the hospital months earlier. Somehow, he had slipped into Sarah's house unnoticed and created a hidden lair inside her walls. Ethan's journal revealed a twisted obsession. Pages described Sarah's daily routines, what time she showered, what she ate, who she called. The writing grew darker. She doesn't know I'm here. Soon she will. Police realized Sarah hadn't been taken off the street. She had been taken inside her own home. Authorities launched a manhunt. But Ethan had vanished, until a break came. A utility worker near the town's abandoned mill reported a foul smell. When officers searched, they found shallow graves. 4 victims, all women from neighboring counties who had gone missing over the past 3 years. Among them was Sarah Miller. She had been strangled. Her body bore no defensive wounds, suggesting she never saw it coming. Ethan had killed her in her sleep. The town of Willow Creek was devastated. The idea that Sarah's killer had lived inside her home for weeks, possibly months, was too much to bear. Parents barred their children from walking alone. Neighbors installed locks and alarms for the first time. The myth of safety in small-town life was shattered forever. Vigils turned into protests demanding answers. How had Ethan slipped through the cracks? Why hadn't anyone listened when Sarah said she felt watched? The hospital faced scrutiny too for failing to notice his lurking presence around the grounds. Ethan Cole was finally caught 6 months later in another state, hiding in the basement of a vacant farmhouse. He was charged with multiple counts of murder. In court, he showed no remorse, smirking as the charges were read. His journals painted him as a predator who fed on secrecy and fear. The trial ended with a life sentence without parole. Families of the victims wept in relief, but closure remained elusive. Nothing could erase the horror of how close the danger had been, how the killer had literally lived in their walls. Sarah's story became a haunting reminder that evil often hides in plain sight. Willow Creek rebuilt, but the scars lingered. Every creak in the floorboards, every shadow in the corner, carried new weight. The case remains one of the most chilling in small-town American history, not only because of the brutality of the crimes, but because of the intimacy of the violation. Sarah Miller was not taken from a dark alley or distant city street. She was taken from the one place everyone believes is safe, her own home. And behind those walls, a serial killer waited.